The crew of Lancaster Bomber PD214. Their aircraft dropped off the radar after leaving RAF Metheringham near Lincoln for its 30th bombing mission in October 1944, classified by the RAF as lost at sea. In fact, it crashed on land near here, the northern German town of Kloppenburg.
We surmise that perhaps it was damaged in the bombing campaign, perhaps hit by flak or by a night fighter. And then at around about 2043, according to eyewitness accounts, it was seen plummeting out of the sky and vertically going into the ground, exploding on impact.
Among those on board that night, Sergeant Ronald Barton. The location of his and his comrades' resting place was lost after the war, until last month, when Sergeant Barton's granddaughters discovered the very spot where the plane came down.
To come and stand where we knew we must be quite close to where that plane had come down, and to look up at the skies and think, this is the last thing they ever saw, and just was very, very moving. Just to be standing there, to think that you were within feet, and we hoped we were in feet, and it turns out that we were within feet of the crash site, was an incredibly emotional moment.
The 8-man crew were among 25,000 airmen from Bomber Command who lost their lives during World War II. When it crashed in this field, it's thought Flight PD214 was returning to base from its final mission over Bremen. The bombs that fell on Bremen that night could be heard 40 miles away by people hiding in this bunker on the outskirts of Kloppenburg. The bombing then stopped. Eyewitnesses describe hearing a strange engine sound before PD214 came crashing to the ground just feet from where they sheltered. Witness Heinz Heuermann was a young boy when the Lancaster came down. His memories of that night are still just as vivid today.
I'd seen the bombs being dropped over Bremen. The sky was full of light and fire. We heard many airplanes in the sky. We didn't know whether they were enemy bombers or German fighters. Suddenly we heard a very loud shower of metal falling from the sky. After some seconds I heard an explosion on the ground. It was a sound like thunder and fire.
Heinz played among the wreckage in the days following the crash. Ronald Barton's name now appears on the Runnymede Memorial to Airmen lost during World War II. Now his family have returned for a third time to the spot where their grandfather died, in the hope his remains can be found.
It was their last mission. They should have been finished. Their 30 operational sorties would have been finished if they got back to base that night. And to think that, it was all cut short in that field and we were standing in that very spot was incredibly emotional.
Tomorrow night on Calendar, the search begins in Kloppenburg for remains of Flight PD214 and perhaps the answers about its crew's final resting place. Michael Billington, ITV News in Germany.